Well, good afternoon, all my team, Counterparts Goodies, YouTubers, wherever you may find me. This is a most important video, and it's a follow-up to a video I did a couple of weeks ago on the NHRA and this new constitution proposed for the NHRA and the way that has all been put together by basically the racing operators. The two operators who are the main funders of the NHRA have decided on a palace revolt, and they are on a mission to change the constitution of the NHRA to their benefit and against the principles of the NHRA. Now, the principles of the NHRA are very simple. They are the regulator in charge of horse racing in South Africa. They're basically a quasi-government body who regulate and control horse racing in South Africa. What has been proposed is that the whole body is changed in the form of changing the constitution so that you have a new co, which is the body, a new co being set up with a nomco, nominations committee, okay, who will in fact make the board of directors for the NHRA. They will appoint the board of directors for the NHRA. But the problem here, and this is the problem, is that the NOMCO is made up of a member from Race Coast. Race Coast is KwaZulu-Natal and the Cape, under the Hollywood banner. And for racing is Gauteng and PE under the For Racing banner. That will be two of the members of the NOMCO. The NOMCO will then have three other members. Two independents, one of which is Mark Curry, who's the chairman, and I have the greatest respect for Mark Curry, and I think he'd be a very, very good chairman of this, and certainly he has all the credentials to chair this. But the other two is an independent and a member, now listen to this, of SANTA, the South African National Trainers Association, who have joined up with the Jockeys Association, and they will have a seat in this forming of the directors and new directors in the NHRA. Okay, so now let's take a step back. Firstly, the NHRA is there as a regulators of horse racing. The NHRA is funded solely and totally by the two racing operators. Race Coast and For Racing fund the NHRA because someone's got to fund the NHRA. Okay. The problem is that you can fund the NHRA, but you can't control it. And effectively, as I said in my last video, NOMCO, which is the Nominations Committee for Directors on the NHRA, those 5 people are actually owned by the racing operators. Because two independents, okay, well, let's call them independents. But the third, the trainers and jockeys, they're certainly not impartial. They are under the wing of the two operators. And I'll tell you why. Because basically, For Racing is going to be taken over by Betway, in my opinion, in the foreseeable future. Mary Slack's not going to carry on funding something that's just a loss leader and absolutely has been run exactly the same as Pumalelo was run. I must tell you, there's very little difference between the two. And Race Coast is owned by Hollywood Bets and Greg Bortz. Well, Greg Bortz has an interest for, I'm not sure where he's going, but I have a very good idea. So let's not get involved in that. And I do think Greg Bortz is a racing man and would be very useful as a director. But the nomination committee who nominate the directors cannot possibly be in that format. The other thing that is most concerning and really needs to be brought up at this juncture is that there are people running around the race courses with voting papers, okay, voting papers with the X crossed in the place that they want it, which is yes to the new constitution or whatever it might be. It is in favor of forming this new association. And they're asking people to put their name on that piece of paper. Now, that is highly illegal. Highly illegal. You cannot give a person a piece of paper with an X marked or a place marked, and I know I've seen it, okay? So I'm not talking hi-ho nonsense. You cannot have the X marked where you want people to vote and then ask them to put their name to it. The second thing is Mark Curry, the chairman, has no right to send out a letter to people, putting a standpoint, quite happy with that, but then saying vote for what I believe and sending a proxy form attached to his letter. I don't believe that's ethical or right. Okay, so let me tell you how I propose this should be run. And I'm just a Jimmy nobody in racing, but I've been in racing all my life, and I've seen the shenanigans, and I've fought and shouted and screamed against Pumalela and the way they ran things, against the way the betting board handled all types of things, because I'm a realist. I see things as they are, and this is a takeover. What should happen, and I'm going to put up the chart, okay? This is the right way to reformulate the NHRA and reformulate the whatever resolutions you want to put through the NHRA. The members have got to vote for NUCO. The members of the NHRA. Why should anyone else vote for NUCO? Why should they put in position a bunch of people that whoever this ruling party is that's out there that it looks like it's a conglomeration between 4Racing and Race Coast, decide who the nominations committee should be. The nominations committee should be voted on by the members. There should be voting papers sent out with people on that voting paper who are prominent owners, who own horses in South Africa, and who would be very good at putting together a board of directors for the National Horse Racing Authority, the NHRA. There are many members of NHRA, and we're all colour holders, we're all members of the NHRA, who would be very good on a NUCO board, and there should be no interest from Race Coast or 4Racing, or for that matter, from the trainers and jockeys. For Pete's sake, the trainers and jockeys are licensed by the NHRA. How can they sit on a board on a committee that actually votes in or decides on the directors of the NHRA? It's nonsensical. And how they got themselves in this position, God knows. So, nominations committee should be 5 members, as they say it should be, and it should be 5 members of upstanding, really big owners in the racing business. And I'm telling you, you can find 5 members easily. I just went through and made a list of people that you see on this form. Nestat, Larry, Gaynor Rupert, Gary Player, Dylan Chinsami. These guys all have Willem Ackerman, Lawrence Werners. There are many others, okay, who are members of the NHRA, who you could put up to run, to be NOMCO, nominations committee. They don't have to do anything except nominate the directors. It's not like you're going to take a lot of time out of their days, but put in a nominations committee that is respected, has an interest, and a veritable interest in horse racing by owning or breeding a lot of horses, and then say, now you pick the directors of the NHRA. The directors should be at least 5 independents and 1 from each of the racing operators, 1 from 4Racing, 1 from Race Coast. Then you've got a board of directors that's non-partisan and would be able to run the business of the NHA without fear or favor of there being this whole thought and feeling behind the scenes that this is a palace revolt. This is a takeover. Okay. I know that Greg Boards took exception to the way Susan wrote her letter, but Susan's correct. She fears what's going to happen, and she's an chairperson of the NHA. Then, underneath that board of directors, or running with that board of directors, there should be 6 subcommittees. These subcommittees should be one from the racing operators, and that should be chaired by a director who's not one of the racing operators, one from the owners, one from the trainers, one from the jockeys, one from the breeders, and one from the punters. So you have 6 subcommittees that are directly involved with the board of directors. Those 6 subcommittees should meet quarterly with a proper agenda and whatever, to air their grievances, to do whatever they need to do, and to report back, would be reported back to the board, and there should be transparency. Every single one of those subcommittees' minutes should be published so that we know what's going on. Because we as the members, we are the members of the NHA. I'm a life colour holder. I've been in this business since I was 23 years old. I've owned colours. I know what happens. And I can tell you, the way things are going, unless you vote against this resolution, we're going to have a palace revolt. We're going to have the racing operators running racing. And that is a disaster. You cannot have the people that are running racing being actually running the NHA as well. So that's my point of view. That's my take on it. From the last little YouTube video I did, I had so many positive comebacks. Please use your vote with the discretion it deserves. Think about this clearly, and let's make sure that this is not a takeover as it looks like it is to me. Hope you enjoy it. From me, James Goodman. Have a good one.